Hello there, neighbor, and welcome to the next installment of the spiritual tasks of the homemaker. Get my kombucha here. So yesterday we began the text. I'm going to pick up where we left off. What I found in starting the text, it was written very traditionally with the idea of man as he, to represent all humans. And then it threw this little switch hitter in there and started to refer generally to a group as women when we were talking about homemaking. It makes sense that the history of the academic world would be written from the perspective of he. And then when we got to home, we switched to she. So as I read it, I'm going to just read it as they wrote it, because they're clearly already thinking of this in one way or another. But I want to acknowledge that there are more men doing that homemaking task, so it's becoming a little more universal, considering what's required within the home and outside of the home. So we're going to pick up where we left off about meaningless and feeling that everyday work is not held with deep value, and a longing for freedom from the homemaker, and a longing for love, which can also feel absent in this paradigm. Many people end up getting divorced. So anyway, they're saying overstrain is always at the bottom of things. That could be happening out in the workplace, overstrain, and also within the home. And particularly if you're trying to do both, there's quite a bit of overstrain there as well. Millions of women and homemakers know these frustrations. They live with them, or they don't. For this is where they begin to look for a way out. As a rule, young women learn an occupation which they then give up because of marriage and children. Their first occupation is replaced by the second, considering that they did start their first occupation, which I was just talking to my daughter yesterday. She's starting to plan her life and her own occupation. And I certainly did not give my occupation a full scope before I had children. Although with real estate I did. I just hadn't really landed in a place that worked for me before I had children. But for many, their first occupation is replaced by the second, homemaking, leading to the frustration described. Often women break out of the family as soon as the children are big and return to their first occupation, fleeing their isolation. Another method is divorce. If a divorce happens by the choice of the wife, there is often such an escape at the root of it. A third possibility is an inner emigration into illness, depression, or alcohol. But there are also other ways of overcoming frustrations. Reform. The attempt to do this is as old as our century. Reforms began already in the first decade of the 20th century. Health food and alternative clothing appeared. A different way of raising children was tried. Today we would speak of anti-authoritarian methods. The emancipation of women began. Women became politically active, broke out of their families without deserting them, however, and became engaged in major world concerns. It is evident from the whole wealth of these events that women tried to overcome the frustration caused by role expectations by protesting about it individually. They also sought to build a sense of community in their homes using new forms such as the extended family and the kibbutz, which continue today. The extended family would rent an apartment or house together, thereby overcoming the isolation, easing some of the workload, and avoiding loneliness. The negative experiences of the homemaker were dispersed. The extended family and the kibbutz are attempts to overcome out-of-date and impossible role expectations in respect of the single family, and to prevent the catastrophic results in the soul of the homemaker. Strength and insight. Similar problems confronted also those homemakers who came across anthroposophy at the beginning of the century. If we think of Rudolf Steiner's mystery dramas, we get a peculiar picture. He introduced them with a prologue in which two women speak about their lives. One is an anthroposophist, the other is critical of spiritual science. During the conversation, the anthroposophical mother, Sophia, tries to explain what ideas she unites with her life as a mother. Just as little as seed forces teach the plant how to grow, but appear as living beings within it, so our ideas don't teach. They pour themselves, igniting life, giving life into our being. Now comes the crucial sentence. Everything that makes life seems meaningful to me, I owe to the thoughts that have become available to me. I owe to them not only the courage, but also the insight and the strength that let me hope to make my children into people who are not only industrious, oh my gosh, this is like what I'm saying, and fit for outward life in the usual sense, but who will carry inner peace and satisfaction in their souls. In the manuscript, the two words insight and strength are underlined from the portal of initiation. How does one find the strength to manage? How does one find the insight? This motif was important to Steiner. In an earlier draft of this scene, the conversation takes place between a married couple. In this case, the skeptic is the husband, and during their discussion, his wife says, "In everything your education offered women, I used to lack the courage to raise the children. You yourself have long since realized that it is only thanks to this spiritual view that I have not only the courage, but more, the insight and the strength." Thus, we find strength and insight already in the earlier draft, and these are what matter if the household is to be handled from out of the individuality and not according to old role expectations. Belonging to the question of how to develop strength and insight is the question of reincarnation. Remember, the human being is an individuality. He is neither man nor woman. He is in either a man or woman body at present. This gives him certain tasks to fulfill, which come to him from destiny. In befriending anthroposophical thinking, it is assumed that one's destiny was not only chosen, but in a certain sense also prepared. One chooses this life for oneself. An individuality that incorporates herself as a homemaker could also have become a man. But she became a woman. She formed her destiny so that she became a wife and a mother. What did she want to achieve by this? This is an abstract question at first, but it is one of the most central questions of humanity today. With many other occupations, it's easy to understand the karma involved. It is easy for a pediatrician to say that she became a doctor because she wanted to heal the sick. But what does a mother with children want? What effect does the homemaker have on the course of history? And I'm going to pause there. We'll pick up with the new mysteries in the next installment of the spiritual tasks of the homemaker. Thanks so much for tuning in, and best of luck to you. Please feel free to share your own thoughts and insights about this. I know I have a lot of friends very wholly absorbed with these questions and how to accomplish not being overstrained, experiencing freedom, experiencing love. And I believe we can find these insights and strength together. Thanks. Bye.